then you have the new boot coming out, the Crispi California, which is just a loafer with no laces, and
It's a flip-flop. No, not yet. We have a lot of say in what we bring into North America. We're not going to bring a boot into North America unless it's been tested here and unless we feel that it's going to fit here. I call it a gentleman hunt. It's have a glass of wine and let's walk a field or let's shoot a grouse, and that's that, and go back and drink some more wine. And
don't get me wrong, that sounds like a fantastic day.
It sounds like a good day, but it's
not North American Western hunting
right,
at all.
Hey guys, this is Scott Deyoung with Crispi Boots. You're listening to Living Country in the City, episode number 17.
Y'all ready for your dose of flyover state spirit? Straight from the concrete jungle? Well, put down your latte and pull on your boots. It's time for Living Country in the City.
All right, y'all. Welcome to episode 17 of Living Country in the City. Living Country in the City is brought to you by Bowhunter Brotherhood. If y'all have a passion for the outdoors, then you've felt that connection that brings all hunters and outdoorsmen together. And that connection is what Bowhunter Brotherhood represents. Visit the Bowhunter Brotherhood site to check out the latest blog entries and videos and get 10% off all purchases in the Bowhunter Brotherhood store by visiting our partners page at livingcountryinthecity.com/partners. I am here on site in not so much the city right now. I'm here up in Immigration Canyon near Salt Lake City, Utah. I was looking for something to do this weekend and ended up seeing this Black Ovis, Crispi, and the Gritty Bowman all blasting this event out here in Salt Lake at the Black Ovis headquarters, and decided I think it's time for a little weekend venture out. And so I'm here with Scott of Crispi Boots. We just finished up a very nice, relaxing, casual hike, right?
Yeah, you can call it that. It was pretty fun. I think round trip it ended up being about 5.5 miles, 1,500 feet of elevation gain. So it was a good morning jaunt.
Yeah, and by morning jaunt, this was probably the worst thing I've ever done. As y'all know, I'm from Los Angeles, and I'm used to my nice below sea level hiking.
Yeah, it's one thing for the rest of us who are accustomed to. We live at 5,000 feet. It's one thing for us, and then you come from LA, and it's a completely different ballgame for your system. So.
Well, and then of course I didn't feel like paying for a hotel room, so I brought my tent and all my gear with me, and packed a full pack. So I was the brilliant guy that also decided to do this with a full 45 pound pack.
Oh yeah, you were definitely packing the heaviest weight out of anyone there.
I will take that as a bit of pride. I was definitely not anywhere near the front of the pack, but I did manage to not die.
Yeah,
I did not. I made it all the way through. I didn't quit. I was competing with myself, so I'm happy that I beat what I expected I could do. So.
Yeah. Well, we were all excited that you flew in from LA for this. We had that event last night. We had Corey Jacobson, the 9-time world champion elk caller there, doing an elk calling seminar. We were kind of unveiling the 2017 lineup with the new Crispi boots we had, and Black Ovis, who Crispi has a really good relationship with, was there, kind of promoting the new Sitka Subalpine. And so we were really glad that you were able to show up and join us on the hike. And he actually spent the night in his tent up here on Immigration Canyon. So.
Got my sawtooth out, set up the stove, woke up to a frozen over tent, but I was nice and toasty.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was a good night out. It's a fun little weekend, the event last night was great. Corey is just absolutely brilliant, and he has this super crazy talent for taking something so complex as literally, how broad can you get by how to be a more successful elk hunter? And he's just so good at distilling it down to so many super important things. Seeing the new Sitka Subalpine lineup was awesome. Getting to actually check it out in person. Not a lot of places I can go to get that experience in Hollywood.
Right.
And of course I'm mudding up my Crispi Hunters right now. Absolutely love them, but it was nice to see this full lineup of Crispies as well. Just one of the things is that coming in as a new hunter is everyone told me one thing that not one person disagrees on is you can skimp and work up to good gear on a lot of things, but buy good boots.
Yeah, if your feet are miserable, you're gonna have a really rough time. You're gonna have a miserable hunt or miserable hike. So there's very few pieces of gear that I would say are as important as a high quality pair of boots.
And I'll tell you, I bought these probably. What is this? This is what month is this? May.
Yep.
Bought these probably mid-March, and took them out to the desert and basically broke them in on a 25-mile hike in the desert. I then spent a month out there. I work music festivals, and so we do a few miles a day walking around these music festivals, wore them the entire time. They've just been absolutely fantastic. After this hike, I am sore up and down. My back sore, my hip flexors are killing me, my knees are shot, but my feet are surprisingly in fantastic shape. It's the one piece of me that is not completely busted up. So I can definitely second that. What everyone has echoed is just invest in good boots. And so that brings up kind of what I wanted to talk to you, Scott, about is just how to I want to talk a little bit about Crispi's lineup, and then how to select a pair of hunting boots. It's coming in. You look at this. You got tall boots, you got short boots, you got ones that are waterproof, ones that have Gore-Tex and this and that and the other, and it's just there's a lot to them, and there's a lot out there, and so maybe why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do with Crispi? Okay,
so I got brought on by Crispi last August, so I've been with them for a little while now, and I kind of a utility player for Crispi. I do a lot on the sales and the marketing side, and I'm also handle most of the customer service phone calls or emails that come in. So I kind of handle most of the day-to-day things at Crispi, and really focus on the sales. And more than anything, I educate people on the boots and how to get a proper fitting boot and what boot would be the best for them and things like that.
So now, what makes Crispi, and I know this could be a kind of a broad question, but, I look, there's hundreds of brands of boots out there,
Yep.
I can look at a lot of different ones, and, I've got a pair of Red Wing Irish Setters at home, and that's what I used for a long time. And what makes Crispi unique? What would you say?
Yeah, I think there's a few different things that kind of set Crispi apart as far as quality and boot building knowledge goes. I hear all the time boot companies kind of pounding their chest that they have 10 years of experience, and one of the things that makes Crispi stand out is we've been building boots for 42 years, so we have a lot of experience about what works, what doesn't, the shape of the foot, custom fit and feel. That's probably one of the things you notice with the hunters that you've worn is right out of the box, they just fit and feel like a custom boot with a very low break-in period, and all of that comes through 40 years of boot building experience.
I would say, low to no break-in period. I put these on brand new, did 25 miles in the desert, and they felt like I've been wearing them for years. I'd honestly, it sounds like I'm this is hyperbole, but I've literally never knew that I could wear a boot like that and have it just not have that real break-in super, what is it, 100-mile break-in period they say for most boots or something?
Yeah, some boots, different companies advertise 50, 75-mile break-in period. We don't put a number on anything. We definitely don't recommend for most guys to put them on and go 25 miles like you did.
I'm not too smart.
But but as long as the boot fits properly with Crispis, you're going to notice a next to nothing break-in period. We do have some guys who it might take a short day hike or two to really get the boot feeling the way it should. In my case, I own a couple different pairs of Crispies, and with all of them right out of the box, I've just laced them up and gone on some pretty significant hikes, and I've no hot spots, no blisters, just a custom fit and feel with, in my experience and yours, a zero break-in period for these boots.
That's one thing I noticed being out at the festivals is, we have 2 festivals in a row. We have Coachella and then we have Stagecoach. And wearing my Crispies the entire time, 2 weeks at Coachella and a week before doing prep and walking around the festival site and this and that, several miles a day.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing. I feel great. Stagecoach rolls around. I throw on the cowboy boots. I walk one day. My foot is just destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things. It's just I didn't, you upgrade and you don't realize the difference until you go back for a day or whatever. And it's just, I think the blisters have finally just started to heal after that. But
yeah, I think most of us have had bad experiences with footwear in the past. It's something that happens, and most of us, like yourself, we kind of learn from. Unfortunately, it's this way, but we learn from our own mistakes. Guys will be in a certain brand of boot, and it'll just, maybe a cheaper boot or an Asian-built boot, and it'll just tear them up, and they say, you know what, that's just what boots are. I got to break them in. And they're fighting blisters, and they're fighting hot spots, and their foot hurts, and they just keep waiting for that boot to break in, and it may never happen. I mean, the boot might fall apart before they think it's broken in. So that's, it's definitely worth it to upgrade and get some high quality boots that you don't have to worry about that painful break-in period.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things I noticed with the Crispies is the support in the sole, and I'm sure the different models. Like I said, I have the Hunters. I just, after wearing these for 3 weeks, 4 weeks straight, and then going back to a different boot or a cowboy boot, it's like it's night and day. And that support is incredible. Just having that super solid sole, not, every time I step on a rock, not having my foot bend over it. And that's one of the biggest, just most immediately noticeable differences that I thought was really unique about the Crispies.
Yeah. Without getting too geeked out on techie stuff, one of the reasons you're feeling that and why you can walk all day without feeling fatigued is a couple different reasons. The midsole on your boots, on the Hunter boots, and on a lot of them, it's a polyurethane midsole, and it's got our Crispi crossbow frame, we call it. So when you take a step, that polyurethane midsole with the Crispi crossbow frame really absorbs the vibrations and compression that a step will put on. so your foot isn't, the compression and the vibration of your step is not being transferred into your skeletal system. It's not bugging your ankle. It's not getting up into your knees or hips. It's really absorbing a lot of that shock. And so that's one of the reasons you're experiencing very little to no foot fatigue. Another reason is our boots have a really defined rocker in the toe. A lot of people who put them on for the first time in our showroom or at trade shows, as soon as they step on, they'll kind of lean forward and they'll be like, "Whoa!" Like this boot's rocking me forward. I can feel it pulling my weight forward, and that comes from that 42 years of boot building experience. That boot is designed to take a lot of stress and strain and foot fatigue out of your calf, out of your Achilles, out of your foot, and it actually, once you start the momentum. And no matter how much weight you have in your pack, it'll actually kind of roll you forward into your next step. So you're putting a lot of less strain on your foot.
I definitely noticed those times when you're just wiped, and it's that time when you can't even think about taking another step. You're just dragging your foot forward. You really do feel that, like, it rolls you into that next step, and
it's like a pat on the back. It's just a little bit of encouragement, like, "Come on, buddy, I got you. One more mile, or let's get up this last hill to our glassing point."
Well, it just kind of gives you that ability to just keep powering through when you're like, okay, you're already halfway to that step. You're already halfway to that next step.
Yep.
It's a unique feeling, and once again, something you miss when you go back to a different boot, which it's not going to happen again.
Yeah, it might feel a little bit weird at first, especially with no weight on a pack. But when you're packing out an animal, or when you're backpacking in the summer, doing what we just did, we were training, you had a lot more weight in your pack than I did. I think I tried to weigh mine before I left the home. Mine was about 30 pounds. Yours was, I'm sure it was over 50. You're saying it's 45, but it feels heavier than that.
I started at about 35 to 40.
Yeah.
Because I needed it for the plane ride over. I kept it under 40. Okay. And then I bought a lot of stuff at Black Ovis at the event last night, and some swag here and there, and so I could have taken it up a good 5.
It's close to 50 if it's not right at it. But yeah, when you get weight on your pack and you're going uphill, you really start to appreciate that rocker that's built into the boot. It just helps pull your weight forward, helps you get a better grip on the hillside when you're going up, and that's not by accident. That's by, like I said, 40 years of experience, and it's integrated into the boot for that purpose.
Gotcha. So let's talk maybe about somebody brand new coming into hunting. Let's talk a little bit about they're like, okay, I need to buy my hunting boots. I love what you've said about Crispi so far. I'm sold. I'm going to buy some Crispies. Oh, holy crap. There's like, how many, I guess models? I don't know.
So we've got about 18 models right now.
So out of 18 models, how would one go about picking their first pair of Crispi boots? And maybe, I know they're going to vary from depending on what that person's doing, but maybe we talk about a few types of situations that a person may be getting into,
right?
And the type of boot they'd want to pick, and some of the reasoning behind that.
Yeah, I think the number one thing is to realize who you are. Maybe your body type. If your feet get cold easily or not makes a big difference, because we do have insulated and non-insulated models. Where you'll be hunting or hiking, how often you're going to use the boot, and what type of ankle support you want, I guess. So you have to know yourself, and you have to have a pretty good idea of what you're going to be using the boot for. We've got boots that are great for light hikes, early season type stuff, and then we've got boots such as yours that are going to be bomb proof anywhere in the world you take them.
And so that was one of the things when I was looking for my boot. I said there's a couple things I was looking for. I needed the waterproof, and I knew I wanted a boot that I could use for season. Like, I knew I'm not going to go out and buy 2 pairs of boots right now. And so I wanted something. I'm like, okay, it may be a little overkill for, September, rut hunt, but it'll also get me through whatever I need.
Yep.
And 3, with my girly little ankles, I wanted my a lot of ankle support.
Right.
Just because I know I've rolled my ankle so many times walking across the street. I didn't even want to think about what I do to them.
Right.
Side hilling. So.
And I'm the same way. I've suffered some ankle injuries in the past with sports. I played a lot of sports growing up, and I do a lot of solo hunts and rolled ankles in the backcountry, and that's no fun, man. If you've ever rolled an ankle by yourself a couple miles deep, it's not a very fun hike out. So that boot that you have on, let's talk about that a little bit. It's kind of grouped into a family of boots, we sort of call them. So there's your boot, which is the Hunter, and that's a 12-inch tall boot. We make that exact same boot in a 10-inch version, so just 2 inches shorter. That's called the Guide. That's my go-to boot. If I'm hunting, odds are I'm going to have the Guide on my feet. And then we make it even a shorter version, which is an 8-inch version, which is called the Nevada. The Nevada is actually our best-selling boot. It's kind of the staple boot of Crispi that everything else kind of works around that Nevada. And this family of boots, the Nevada, the Guide, and the Hunter, are all built identically other than the height. The advantage of the taller boot, the 12-inch Hunter, it is going to offer you better ankle support. If you're in steeper terrain or heavier weight on your pack, it's going to give you a little bit better support.
You're going to really lean into that.
It's really going to lock into you, lock into your ankle and up your calf. And guys who choose that boot, maybe they don't want to wear gaiters, or they don't own gaiters, or just gaiters bug them. So you can hunt in 10, 11 inches of snow in that boot without wearing a gaiter, or, stream crossings. I know a lot of guys with shorter boots, and they take off their boots to cross the stream, or, they get up and over their gaiters or whatever. That boot, you're going to be able to walk 10, 11 inches of water, no problem. No, all the boots we make are full Gore-Tex. Our boots do not leak. If they do, let us know. We'd be happy to fix the problem for you. But yeah, so I chose the 10-inch boot because I feel I like wearing a gaiter for some reason. I don't know. I just feel better with a gaiter on. So I didn't need the extra 2 inches, but I feel the 10 inches gives me ample ankle support for everything I'm doing. And then I still wear a gaiter, which covers up the other 2 or 3 inches for stream crossings.
I getcha.
So, one of the things you're feeling in that ankle support that this family of boots has is, we call it our ABSS system, ankle bone support system. It's not in all of our boots, but it is in this family of boots. It kind of acts like a memory foam around your ankle. So as you lace that boot up, that boot is actually wrapping around and conforming to your ankle, and it's going to provide optimal support. And it's super comfortable support because it's molding around your ankle bone. It's molding around your ankle or your calf. So that's one of the things you're probably noticing when you say you feel it gives you really good ankle support. You're noticing that memory foam, that ankle bone support system.
I've definitely noticed that when I loop it around that one wide out there hook and cinch it down, I really feel like it compresses in around the ankle bone rather than just like, because that's one of the problems I have bony ankles. I'm a lean dude, I'm a skinny dude, and a lot of the times I would lace up a taller boot and it would dig into my ankle bones. It wouldn't support them, it just would rub them raw and dig in. This is so different in that it wraps around the ankle bone, it cushions it, and really supports it.
Another way the lacing system designed with that lace lock that you're referring to, it really does a good job at pulling your heel back into the heel pocket. The most common place to get blisters is on the back of the heel because your heel's rubbing. So that our lacing system does a really good job pulling your heel back into the boot so your heel's not slipping up the back of the boot. And also it locks the laces. So I know I used to have to do this with different brands of boots I owned. Walk a couple miles, stop, tighten up the laces again, walk a couple miles, stop. The laces loosen over time. But the way Crispi's designed the lace system with that lace lock, you lace them up in the morning and you're good all the way through the evening. You don't have to stop and keep retying your boots to get the proper, the more custom fit. So
I've definitely noticed that. I if not ever, I don't think I've ever needed to. I mean, that's provided I lace them up properly the first time, and but all the hiking, all the walking I've done, I don't think I've ever had to sit down, pull them out, readjust them, anything like that. Which I am thankful because with the 12-inch boot, it takes me a while to get it fully laced up.
once you're in there, you're in there. You're bomb proof.
So let's maybe talk about some of the other line and what they would be what they would be used for.
Yeah, so these boots we just referred to, the Nevada, the Guide, the Hunter, they are insulated. With the exception of the Nevada, it comes in both an insulated and a non-insulated model.
Okay.
I want to talk really quick just about the insulation. Some guys in certain parts of the country are just the way their body temperature is. When they hear the word insulated, they cringe. So really quick, just a quick rundown of the insulation in most of the Crispi boots. If they are an insulated boot, with exception to one boot that we call the Wild Rock, which has a Primaloft insulation, all of our other insulated boots has a Gore-Tex insulation. The technical term for it is Duratherm. Basically what it is the insulation is integrated into the waterproof bootie, and it's a really thin layering of insulation. If you tear a boot open, cut a boot open and look at it, it's about the thickness of a dryer sheet. So it is very minimal, and it breathes extremely easy. It breathes really well since it is a Gore product. So these boots are still going to breathe really well, so your feet won't over sweat, but they are going to give you a little bit of extra warmth for, cold mornings, cold evenings. You are going to feel they are a little bit warmer than what a non-insulated boot would be.
Well, and I feel like it's one of those things. You're not so much really wrapped. It's not like a big thick insulation that you're wrapped around.
No, not at all. It's like I said, it's about as thick as a dryer sheet. People hear insulation and they think of insulation in walls or insulation in like their winter shovel the driveway type boots type of thing. These are very minimal. The technology in them is just very high tech. It's everything about that boot is designed to breathe as well as a non-insulated boot would, because the worst thing you can do for your feet is when your feet start to sweat and overheat. That's when it starts causing more friction and blisters can happen. So these boots are really designed to breathe really well.
Well, I feel like that's one of those things those days when you are walking through the snow, when you're coming out of a river, whatever that may be, uh, that's the difference between your foot. That just gives you that extra little bit of warmth that you need just to kind of keep your foot going sometimes too.
Yeah, so my guide boots that I wear, and this would be the exact same for your hunters, I wore them last year, early archery season, which is August, I wear those boots from August when it gets up high 70s, low 80s sometimes, all the way into late season where it's, a foot of snow, it's single digits. I never noticed my feet overheated in that boot. I did notice if I would stop to glass for an hour or two, my feet would start to get a little chilly. But yeah, as far as overheating, my feet never overheated in our insulated boots. So I don't want guys to hear the word insulated and say, nope, not for me, because it's not your standard insulation.
I'll admit I was a little bit curious about that when I first I was looking at the difference, and I'm like, insulated boots, do I really need those?
Especially where you live.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of stuff in the desert.
And so, and I will be the first to admit, like I said, I was cruising around. It was on average the lowest I think was 85. There was days it was up to 103, 105 while I was out there, and I had no issues, no issues with overheating on my feet. So yeah, I can definitely second that it's not. There's like nothing to worry about as far as overheating and rubbing and the sweating and anything like that. If I highly doubt too many people are going to be doing hunts out in 110 degree weather.
Dude, my body shuts down after about 85. I'm done. I don't want to be outside anymore. I want air conditioning at that point.
Oh man, that's like 85 is like a nice day. We go on a nice warm hike.
Yeah, that's a little hot. So we do have another family of boots. We just talked about our kind of our insulated family. We have a non-insulated family. It consists of the Idaho boot and the Wyoming, and it's very similar. They're the exact same construction. It's just the Wyoming's the 8-inch version. The Idaho's a little bit taller. It's the 10-inch model. And those are constructed not of leather, but of suede leather and high-resistance Cordura fabric. And that Cordura is going to breathe a little bit better than a leather boot would. Leather actually breathes extremely well. And when I say breathe, it's just the water vapor coming from when you're sweating out. It's going to evaporate that water vapor out of the boot, but still not let water droplets into the boot. So the Idaho and the Wyoming, they're non-insulated. They breathe really well. So they'd probably be a little bit better boot for guys who are consistently going to be in warm climates, or early season hunters who are putting on lots of miles. Their feet get hot. Those two boots would be a really good choice for those guys. They are built on a little bit wider last. A last is basically a mold of a footprint that the boot's built around. So they are a little bit wider. So we get guys calling saying, hey, I have a little bit wider foot. I'm not quite a wide size. I'm just right in between a standard width and a wide. And the Idaho and Wyoming are great boots for those guys because it is a little bit wider, a little bit more generous in the toe box.
Okay.
So those would be really good options for guys who are either hunting early season or live in warm climates who don't want a leather boot. It's so funny. Like, just talking to guys, you get guys that will call in. They're like, I want a leather boot. Don't even talk to me about anything except for an all leather boot. And then, the next phone call will come in. He's like, I hate leather boots. I don't even want to hear about a leather boot. I want a synthetic boot. So it's just so funny how there's two different camps. And I feel like at Crispi, we've done a really good job at balancing out both. There's some boot companies that make only synthetic boots. There's other boot companies that make only leather boots. We do a really good job at putting out a high quality product in both synthetics and leathers. So we feel like no matter what type of boot a guy's looking for, we'll be able to put him in something comfortable and something that's going to fit his needs.
Okay. And so now the Idaho and the Nevada, those are those you'd recommend for somebody, still doing a backcountry hunt, carrying a decent amount of weight, but somebody that does want something a little bit lighter,
Yep.
A little bit more breathable.
Right, the Idaho and Wyoming.
Wyoming,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. So the Nevada is just the shorter version of the Hunter that you have on your foot right now.
Idaho and Wyoming.
Yep, the Idaho and Wyoming are really good for guys doing backcountry hunts. They still have the ankle bone support system memory foam in them. They still have the polyurethane midsole, which is going to reduce the vibration. It's not going to transfer the compressions up into your skeletal system. Just really good boots for guys who want a synthetic boot that's going to breathe a little bit better than a leather boot would.
Gotcha. And so then you have the new boot coming out, the Crispi California, which is just a loafer with no laces, and
It's a flip flop. No, not yet. Maybe maybe California will come out with a boot called the California in the future. Right now, there's not one in the lineup.
You know what? I would buy Crispi Californias if they were a flip flop. If you guys came out with a line of flip-flops and called them the Crispi California, I would be the first one in line for that launch event.
Well, I'll let you know if we do that for sure. Yeah, I'll keep you posted.
On that note, let's take a quick moment to hear a word from one of our partners.
Hey y'all, if you're like me, a new elk hunter really trying to up your game and get into backcountry big game hunting, or if you're an experienced hunter trying to fill tags more consistently, you really need to check out elk101.com's University of Elk Hunting online course. If you're looking for a central resource to really take you all the way from start to finish when it comes to big game hunting, this is it. Corey Jacobson is a world champion elk caller and one of the definitive experts when it comes to elk hunting. And in this online course, he shares over 30 years of his elk hunting experience, strategies, and tips. All of this is broken down into easy to digest modules and packed full of great video content as well. This will provide you with all of the resources you need to be a confident elk hunter, regardless of your past experience. What's even better is you can get $20 off the University of Elk Hunting online course by visiting livingcountryinthecity.com/partners. That's livingcountryinthecity.com/partners.
So what else do we have in the lineup?
So another boot that's really popular is actually the boot I wore this morning for this hike. It's called the Summit.
Okay.
It's a little bit shorter boot than I would hunt in, just because today I knew I wouldn't have to pack out an 80-pound elk quarter, right? So it is a little bit lower boot. It's an 8-inch boot. It does not have the ankle bone support system in it. It's just a really lightweight boot. Guys who are counting ounces, guys who are looking for a super lightweight early season option. It's a great boot for that. It's constructed with the same material that the Idaho and Wyoming are, that suede and cordura. It's just a lighter version of it, basically. So it doesn't have the ankle bone support system in it. That takes out weight. Instead of a polyurethane midsole, it has an EVA foam midsole, which is similar to what most tennis shoes or running shoes would have as an EVA.
Okay.
Over time, this material in these boots I'm wearing now, it's going to break down a little bit sooner. So over time, I'm sure my body will start to feel that it's not reducing the vibration of a compression as well as a polyurethane would.
Okay.
So guys who are looking for a boot and they're like, man, I'm putting on 1,000 miles a year plus in boots. I want something that's going to last me several years at that mileage. Probably not the best choice for those guys going with an EVA midsole. They'll probably want to go with a polyurethane.
Okay.
But for guys who just want a super lightweight, non-insulated, breather, minimalistic type boot, the Summit's a really good option.
So, like, for somebody that's out shed hunting or something,
Yep.
like the weekend shed hunter,
Yep.
that might be a good option to
if you're
cruise
not
out.
you're not carrying a ton of weight, or guys just, you and I are not in this class, but some guys just have bulletproof ankles. I'm not that guy at
If
all.
only.
Yeah,
I've
it'd be nice.
been hit by too many cars to ever have bulletproof anything at this point.
I've never been hit by a car, but sometimes my ankles feel like they have been. But yeah, guys who have really strong ankles and just looking for a lightweight boot, the Summit's a really good option for them.
Okay.
So another boot. This year for 2017, we kind of looked at the hunting boot market as a whole and said, what's missing and how can we fix it? And we felt that the market's sort of leaning towards or missing high quality, lightweight, waterproof boots. So for 2017, that was our focus. We wanted waterproof, we wanted lightweight, and we wanted high quality that's going to last year after year.
Okay.
So there's two boots that we came out with this year that we're really excited about that we feel really meet that need. One of them's called the Laponia, and the other one's called the Thor. And they're both super lightweight, but they they cater to two completely different crowds. So the Laponia is the lightest weight boot that we carry. It's 18 ounces, so just over a pound per boot. It's an all leather boot, but it's a pretty flexible boot. It's got about the flex of what a trail runner would have with the weight of a trail runner.
Oh, wow.
So that's really for the guys who are wearing trail running shoes hunting, and they leak. Like, that was just, it was so funny. And I'm sure you overheard me talking with one of the guys that was on the hike. He was wearing a trail running shoe, and he's like, man, I hunt in these because I like the flex. They fit me well. They're comfortable. And he's like, this is my fifth pair, and all 5 pairs I've owned have leaked. And he's like, I've just had to embrace that my feet are going to get wet every hunt. And
bring extra socks.
Yeah, it's tough to dry out your shoes. So we really brought in this Laponia for that guy, like that guy that I was talking to, and he's stoked. I told him about the Laponia, and he's stoked. He's going to come in and try it on. The weight of a trail running shoe, the flex of it, but it's a leather boot. It's going to provide better protection. It goes a little bit higher up on the ankle. It's going to give better ankle support and guaranteed waterproof. That boot will not leak.
It's like the kind of perfect hybrid between the hunting boot and the running shoe.
It's absolutely a hybrid of a trail runner and a hunting boot. So
nice.
we're excited about that. We've had some really good traction with that boot. Another boot that we brought in that I was talking about was called the Thor. The Thor is a synthetic material, so it's not a leather boot. It doesn't offer quite as good of ankle support. So it breathes really well, but it's a stiffer flex. It's actually the stiffest flex in the Crispi lineup right now.
Oh, wow.
So this would kind of be, the Thor's kind of a 3-way hybrid between a hunting boot, a trail runner, and a mountaineering boot.
Okay.
So it's got sort of more of a similar flex as what a mountaineering boot would have, but it's still going to give you the agility and lightweight of a trail runner, but it's still built by on a hunting boot platform. Like, we know guys are going to be hunting in this boot, guys are going to be packing out elk quarters, deer quarters in this boot, so we built it to try to meet the crowd who are like, dude, I want a light and fast boot. I want something that's going to be super breathable because I move a lot, but with the mountains I'm climbing, it's steep and I still want a stiff boot. The Thor is the perfect boot for that type of guy.
Yeah, I was curious. I imagine that'd be good for people scrambling up a lot of rocks, doing more climbing, a little more vertical work in their hunts.
Yeah, we've had the Thor boot on some pretty serious dudes. A lot of dudes who are KUIU gear testers were testing out this boot for us, and some other guys, and every single one of them came back and said, this is hands down the best elk hunting boot I've ever worn.
Oh, wow.
They're like, it handles steep terrain really well. It's still stiff enough that my feet aren't fatigued by hiking up steep hills, but it's lightweight, it's breathable. We've had great, solid feedback from this boot. Okay. So I know Aaron Snyder, the Gertie Bowman guys, they were just here doing this hike with us. Aaron was one of the guys testing out this Thor for us. He loves it. He's got a couple pairs now that he's wearing. It's just a really solid boot.
Awesome. All right, what else? What do we got next?
Oh man, we brought on a lot of boots. One of them that I think's worthy of mention is the Dakota. So the Dakota is basically, if we get a guy who just loves the Nevada boot, which is our number one boot, but he's like, I just wish it was a little bit lighter. Okay. Boom, there's the Dakota. It's built on the exact same construction as the Nevada. It just has thinner leather in it. The Nevada is constructed with 2.4 millimeter thick leather in a nubuck. The Dakota has thinner leather, and it's actually got Cordura incorporated into the tongue and into the back of the boot, which lightens it up quite a bit. Cordura fabric is quite a bit lighter than leather. So it's built in the same platform, same outer sole, same midsole, same ankle bone support system as the Nevada. It's just a little bit lighter, more breathable version of it. So that's going to meet the guy who is an avid backpacker, just hikes a lot, wants a solid boot, but he wants it to be a little bit lighter weight because he's putting on a lot of miles.
Just may not take quite as much abuse as some of the higher.
Yeah, just the leather is a little bit thinner. The Cordura material, over time and over a lot of abuse, the Cordura is not going to hold up quite as well as a full nubuck leather boot would, like the Nevada. But it's a really good option for a guy who's like, man, I love the thought of the Nevada. It's just a little heavy. I put on a lot of miles. I want something a little bit lighter, breathes a little bit better. The Dakota's kind of the perfect fit for that type of guy.
Okay.
And then this year we also, so Crispi is based in Italy, Mazer, Italy. All of our boots are handmade in Italy, and they have a very good rapport with law enforcement and military personnel in Europe. And so this year for the North American market, we helped them design a couple black tactical boots that we feel will really meet a need for law enforcement and military guys here in the States.
Okay.
So we are bringing on 3 tactical boots this year. One of them is the Nevada. It's basically just the exact same as the insulated hunting Nevada. It's just got a different lace system in it. It's just a pull lace instead of a wraparound type lace system, which firefighters and law enforcement guys, if they have to react to a call,
they got to go fast.
Every second counts. They got to be able to lace their boots up a little quicker. So we have the Black Nevada. We also came out with one called the Oasis. The Oasis is more for the guy who he's a patroller. He's in the streets, but maybe his job requires him to get off into the woods, into the mountains a little bit. Perfect example, the Oregon State Police.
Okay.
We have a really good relationship with the Oregon State Police, and it's very, I don't know how to call it California, so I can't speak for that, but Utah anyway, we have the police force, right, and they patrol the streets in the cities, and we have a separate division of wildlife that kind of patrols the mountains and the fisheries and hunters and things like that, where the Oregon State Police, they're one and the same. They patrol the streets and they patrol the backcountry.
Okay.
So they don't have a separate police force from their division of wildlife. They're all the same officers. So those guys one day could be patrolling, traffic, and then the next day they could be 10 miles deep in the backcountry checking a poaching case. So the Oasis is going to be a perfect cross boot for that guy. It's still got the tread and the beef to it that it's going to be able to handle the backcountry, but you can also patrol in it. And then we brought in a boot called the Sniper, and it is just 100% pure urban tactical boot. So that boot's going to be for the the highway patrolman guys who don't have to get up into the backcountry.
Gotcha.
So we're doing lots of things here at Crispi. We're
kinds.
we're working on a few projects right now that kind of tinkering in different platforms, different markets. But we got some boots coming on in 2018 that are gonna, I think, fit different types of markets.
Awesome.
So
and hopefully a flip flop.
And a California flip flop. We'll
The Crispi Californias.
Handmade in Italy, leather flip flop. I like it.
Well, so just to kind of recap it a little bit, we've got the insulated boots, which are the Hunter, the Nevada, and
the Guide.
Yeah. And those are a little more resilient, more an any season. You take anything you can throw at them boot for heavy backcountry work.
Yep.
We have the Idaho and Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Those are similar, a little shorter, non-insulated versions, right?
Non-insulated versions are going to be a little bit lighter weight. They're still not, they're not considered quite to be in the light and fast category, but they're for the mountain hunter who, who's just looking for something a little bit more breathable.
Okay. And something more breathable, still good for the backcountry, maybe a little bit warmer climates, things like that. Yep. We have what was the next on the line?
The one I'm wearing today, it's the Summit.
The Summit, that's right.
Yep.
And what would that be for more shorter hikes and maybe shed collecting? Someone that's not going to go quite as deep or as far, maybe doing day hunting trips, things like that.
Yeah, we get guys, the born and raised guys out of Oregon. They're pretty much all in the Summit. Those guys are putting on, in elk season, which is a couple weeks, right? Mm-hmm. They're putting on a lot of miles, and they get it done. I mean, they're packing out 3 or 4 elk a year in these boots. It's not something I would do personally because of the lack of ankle support, which we've talked about. They don't have that issue, so they are using the boot for long trips and heavy packouts. For most of the guys, I would say you're probably going to want a little bit more ankle support if you're packing out 3 or 4 elk in a couple weeks. So for me, this is kind of my shed hunting boot. It's my scouting boot, things like that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we have the hybrid boots.
The hybrid boots, which are the Laponia is the leather flexible version, and the Thor is the synthetic stiff version.
Okay. And we got that whole law enforcement line coming out.
The law enforcement line coming out. We're excited about that. That's new for 2017 as well, and we'll see where it takes us. We're already working potentially on a couple different tactical boots to meet different niches. And the nice thing about our relationship with Crispi Italy is they manufacture the boots, but we have a lot of say in what we bring into North America. We're not going to bring a boot into North America unless it's been tested here, and unless we feel that it's going to fit here. A lot of their boots are very Euro, like the color schemes. They don't have the same hunting as we do necessarily. You go to Italy on a hunt, and I call it a gentleman hunt. It's have a glass of wine and let's walk a field, or let's shoot a grouse, and that's that, and go back and drink some more wine. And
don't get me wrong, that sounds like a fantastic day.
It sounds like a good day, but it's
not North American Western hunting,
right?
At all.
So we really have a huge say in designing the boots we bring into the North American market, which is unique. A lot of the European boot companies that are sold in the U.S. Not to name any names, they're selling boots that were designed for Europe. They're selling them here in North America, and they just don't quite cross over as well. They weren't designed to handle the pack loads or handle the abuse that backcountry hunters put on them.
A little bit's just lost in translation.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yep. So.
Okay, well, now we're winding down. One thing I always like to end with is, the podcast is focused on, folks like me coming from the city who are new at this, may feel overwhelmed, may feel intimidated. As we've talked about, so often we set we do it to ourselves. We set the barrier to entry so high just because there's already so much to learn. There's all this different gear to learn about and this and that. So someone that's feeling a little overwhelmed, a little intimidated, what do you have any words of encouragement or any just advice?
Yeah, I just thinking as you said that about this, it was we covered a lot of information very, very quickly. Honestly, we could sit here and we could talk about each of the 18 boots for an hour. That's not something most people would want to listen to, so we didn't do that. But if you do have any questions about Crispi boots, we have a phenomenal website where this spring we've worked hard. We're revamping it. We're adding more material for guys who maybe have never heard of us or have never entered into the high-end boot category. We have instructional videos on our website about each boot that's going to talk them over. Lots of pictures, really good spec sheets. But honestly, just don't hesitate to give us a call at Crispi or shoot us an email.
I'll say really quick, right before I ordered these, I was at the office and I was looking at the sizing. I was kind of like, I couldn't quite figure out the sizing. I had a general idea. And, I printed out the sheet and everything and thought I had it figured out. And I'm like, I just don't know. And so I sent an email. I said, okay, this is what I'm seeing, like measurement-wise. Am I picking out the right boot? Went to use the restroom. By the time I got back, I had an answer in my email inbox.
Yep.
Like I was like, okay, I'll hear back from him in a couple of days.
Yep.
It was the customer service. I've called a couple of times. It has always been top notch, absolutely phenomenal.
And we kind of pride ourselves in that. We every single day we make sure our inboxes, everything's been responded to when we leave for the day. So if it takes longer than 24 hours for us to respond, some sort of disaster, catastrophe, emergency has happened, and for some reason we weren't able to get back to you, but we will. We respond to all the voicemails we get, within a 24-hour period. So don't hesitate to call us. Everyone in the office owns multiple different pairs and knows them really well. We all hunt. We all hike. Kendall, who is actually the president of Crispi that we went on the hike with this morning, he's a very avid backpacker. He hikes and backpacks in the summer with his family a lot more than I do. Okay. So we're all very familiar with both the backpacking world and the hunting world. Not everybody hunts, but they need good boots, right? So we're very accommodating of we want to know your story, where you're at in life, what you're going to be using them for, and I feel pretty certain we'll be able to find a boot that will fit the needs of almost anybody out there.
Absolutely. So if people wanted to find Crispi online, what's the website?
It's crispius.com.
And we got you on socials too.
Yep, we're on at Crispi Hunting. That's where we're at on social media, and we're on Facebook, feel free to ask questions there. We got a social media guy who does a phenomenal job at responding to all the questions we get on social media.
Sounds good. I haven't gotten a repost yet from Crispi Hunting, but
Okay.
I will admit it was a highlight of one of my days. I did get a repost from the Crispi since 1975 account.
Okay, so that's Crispi Italy. That's
the
that's
Crispi
worldwide
Italy account.
headquarters.
I was pretty happy with that one. That made me happy. It was from the trip to Joshua Tree, from the 25-mile hike.
Oh, cool.
It was gorgeous. I mean, one of the most beautiful sunrises. I always have a habit. I have to figure out which way is east. All the tent entrance. I mean, I'm not gonna hike an extra mile just to find it, but the tent entrance always faces east, so I can at least wake up to a decent sunrise.
There you go. That's awesome.
But yeah, I got that one reposted. So I will post these up on the show notes page. That's going to be livingcountryinthecity.com/17. You can check out all the links, a little summary of the podcast. Check it out there. Yeah. Thank you so much for hopping on the podcast with me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for making a last-minute fly-in trip from LA. We were all stoked when you came in, and we were pumped. And you're welcome. You're welcome at Crispi headquarters anytime, man.
I will definitely take you up on that.
You're a stud, and we had a blast hiking with you today. And it was probably a little bit more than we thought we were getting ourselves into, especially you coming from sea level. And I think I'm looking at my Sunto watch right now. We're sitting at about 6,000 feet ish. We went up to 7,500 today, and
well,
props
everyone,
to you, man. You got after it with that heavy pack on.
Everyone kept asking me, what do you think of all the fresh air? And I'm like, what air? There's none up here. You guys are all crazy.
Oh, we love it. We love it. So,
but thanks again for hopping on.
Okay, thank you.
All right, y'all, that'll do it for episode 17 of Living Country in the City. If you have any further questions about Crispi boots or which pair is right for you in your specific situation, you'll find links to their website and all their social pages on the show notes page at livingcountryinthecity.com/17. Now remember that I'm giving away over $600 in prizes from Mountain Ops, Corey Jacobson's Elk101.com, Huntin' Fool, Bowhunter Brotherhood, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and more. So make sure you're following me on Instagram. All the info is posted up there. Or you can check it out at livingcountryinthecity.com/2K, the number 2 and the letter K. Finally, if you've been enjoying the podcast, please make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss out on any episodes. Also, take a moment to leave a rating and write a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Doesn't have to be long. Absolutely anything helps me move up through the rankings, which in turn helps me continue to get awesome guests on the show for y'all. I've got some really great episodes coming up for y'all over the next few weeks, so subscribe and keep on listening. But in the meantime, stay country, y'all.
Thank y'all for listening to Living Country in the City. Get show notes and check out the blog, product reviews, events, and more at livingcountryinthecity.com.